Over the past, oh my gosh, 2 or 3 years, we've seen a dramatic increase of couples struggling and arguing in love with their relationships. It's really super sad to see. It's happening regularly now, much more regularly than ever in the past. And so I want to do a video and offer a couple tools that could be really incredible in regards to helping people move past these experiences. Both of them are 100% fail proof if you do them correctly. And we have to first look at the origin, right? Look, what's the origin of the argument? What are the topics that we're arguing most about? And this is an exercise I'm going to give you right now. If you're in a relationship where there's a lot of arguing and a lot of dissension, negative energy between you two, I want you to write down number one is, what are those topics that create the most stress in our relationship? Is it money? Is it sex? Is it spending time together? Is it not letting go of past resentments? Is it insecurity? Is it jealousy? Is it like, what is it that's creating all of this kind of insanity in our relationship? And so I would ask both couples, or if both couples don't want to do the work, I would have just one write down what they perceive the most difficult topics that they're facing on a regular basis that's creating this unrest, dysfunction, chaos, and drama. During these times, the American Psychological Association survey, 80% of marriages are in worse shape now than they've ever been. And one of them is because of what we're talking about right now. When COVID hits, and then the racial distress and the political distress and the wars and the economy and all that kind of stuff, it's only natural for us, when we're shaken up out of our normal comfort zone, to become on edge, to become irritable, to become maybe even arrogant, or to shut down emotionally, right? And so what we want to do is, with couples that are finding themselves right now in a lot of stress, and it's happening everywhere, there's two tools that I'm going to teach you tonight, and I've talked about them a ton in the past, but they are so freaking effective. As a matter of fact, the reason I'm doing this is because yesterday I had a session with a client I've been working with for 6 months. They are on their way to divorce. Now they're not going to divorce at all. They're doing so much better. And the wife, who I work with almost exclusively, said to me, David, when you taught me the art of disengagement from arguing, it took me 45 days, maybe 60 days, 2 months to grab it. But over the last several months, our relationship has changed so much, simply because I've changed my approach. She didn't say a thing about her husband. She didn't say a thing about him changing. But the relationship is coming closer together because she actually took what I was saying seriously, disengagement. So how does it work? Well, when you write down the topic areas that are the triggers, right? Money, sex, vindictiveness, arguing, resentments, etc., whatever it might be. The very first thing I ask my clients to do is talk to your partner about, do they agree that these are the biggest issues, and then for you to come to an agreement on which one is the worst one, the nastiest, which one is the one we need to sit down and talk about, which one is the one that we need to go and get help with, a financial planner, a counselor, therapist, coach, whatever it might be, right? So there's usually one major topic. There can be several, but there's usually one major topic. So the first exercise is, let's find out which that one is that's creating the most chaos in our love, and then let's go get help and see if we can figure it out. But along the way of figuring out is where we use disengagement. Just because you found out that it's money, or it's a lack of sex, or it's a lack of time together, or it's a lack of doing interesting, fun things together, whatever the issue is, a resentment from the past, maybe you had an affair 20 years ago and your partner still brings it up, maybe you used to drink a ton in the past and you don't anymore and your partner still brings it up. These are all hot topics. But what we do is we teach the art of disengagement, which says this: the minute you feel your emotions starting to rise above normal, in other words, you start to get anxious, irritable, angry, upset, that's when you take a break. So as you're discussing, and it's the money thing, or it's whatever it might be, it's the affair from 20 years ago, whatever it might be, is that you get to a point where you start to feel tension, and then you take a time out. And the way I train everyone to do it is really simple, honey. If we keep going down this road together, it's going to get really bad. This is not a topic that we can discuss right now. Can we try discussing it tomorrow at noon? Can we try tonight at 6 o'clock? In other words, you give options. You're saying, time out, time out. We're getting into an argument, or I feel an argument coming. Let's take time out. When we come back, I'm going to let you talk first, what you're frustrated about. I'm going to sit and listen, then I'm going to talk. So we can do this disengagement thing, and it's really powerful. Some couples will end up taking an hour to 2 hour car ride separately. Like someone will just say, I got to get out of the house. There's too much tension here. There's too much negativity. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go for an hour walk. Now, I've worked with couples in the past where one of the couple wouldn't let the other one leave. Is that they were extremely insecure, there was a bunch of separation anxiety, and they would flip out when they had an argument and one of them, the other person, wanted to leave. They wouldn't let them. So we had to then get to the core of why is it that you can't let your partner go to let off steam? Why can't you let them just leave so that they can take a big breath and let go of some of the stress? Then we get to the bottom of that and we do our work through that, right? So the very first thing is going to be disengagement. When you feel your blood pressure rise, your heart rate rise, that's when we want to take a big breath and say, we need to take some downtime. Now, it may take a lot of practice if a couple is used to arguing regularly in order to bring that energy down, but keep trying. And then the second one is something that we created 30 years ago called living apart while trying to stay together. And that's something you can go to YouTube and watch complete videos I've done on that. But the basics of that is we've been at each other's throats. We are feeling divorce may be imminent. Instead of going right for divorce, let's try a separation of 90 days. And in that separation of 90 days, the couple still gets together, they still work on their issues, but being apart, living in a separate home. Maybe one rents an apartment for 90 days, one stays with a friend for 90 days. But the idea is to decrease the extreme negative energy in the home and give you guys a chance to breathe and come back. Listen, if I can help you, go to talkdavid.com or davidessel.com. This is my love. I love this type of work. We've turned so many relationships around. Individuals that thought for sure they were going to divorce haven't. Some couples that thought they were going to divorce, and they should have, did divorce, and that's great. But first, let's do the work. Okay? davidessel.com or talkdavid.com. Have a beautiful day.